Let's get started this way with a quote from a U.S. Democratic representative, Tom Allen. He used this in 2005. He says, "Energy conservation is the foundation of energy independence." Why this out front? Well, we might as well go deeper on the thought. I believe when you charge the environment positively, I bet you have noted, you are rewarded with great vibes for development. Between my guests and my humble self, musing over the environment and sustainable energy for today and the future will be what you're spending the next half hour with us. It is a promise. Welcome to this week's edition of the program On the Spot. My name is Blessing Abu. My guest is a business expert in the renewable energy industry and has an extensive background in waste management and water management development. His investment also is into entrepreneurial, financial, and risk management, the background to develop, finance, and build renewable energy projects. He also advises investors on the renewable energy sector in Nigeria. He has more than 17 years experience with specialties in eco-energy investment, including wind, solar, biomass, and geothermal. Project finance, leading negotiation of key investments, financing, and also construction. The contracts are in the multiples with stakeholders. On the spot this week, I'd like to welcome the President and Chief Executive Officer at Cape Gate Group, BASHIR, NAMADINA. He has a traditional title, Katukan JEGA. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you.
This for us, when we talk about the environment, we have so much to talk about.
Very well.
Air, land, everything. The mass is big. But then, for us to move in and out of what the environment constitutes for this program, we'll be taking a look at energy as well as other things that you have done. Okay. Energy crisis, is that what we have in Nigeria or just the lack of knowledge of it?
I cannot say we are into serious energy crisis, but the right way to put it is lack of knowledge, or I can put it this way, lack of commitment on the part of the stakeholders to do the right thing at the right time.
Okay. Yes. So for you, looking at the environment, what are we leaving out and what are we not knowledgeable about to actually use the environment effectively?
As I said earlier, I don't believe there is a lack of knowledge.
So you use the word lack of commitment.
Yes, lack of commitment.
Why are we not committed, and to what are we not committed, essentially?
First and foremost, we have a lot of policies in place in Nigeria. When you talk of policies, when you talk of Act, Emission Control Act, Waste Management, Solid Waste Management Act, they are all over the place. But there is a serious lack of proper coordination on the part of stakeholders. You will see several institutions, several stakeholders pursuing independently their own agenda on how to achieve environmental management issues. Our advice, our take here always is for the federal government as a custodian of environment in Nigeria to as much as possible to have a central coordinating system in place where you house all this environmental activity taking place independently in a disorganized manner. Okay,
now let's break it down.
All right.
So over 17 years experience in trying to, and I'm sure at different points of the 17 years or even more, yes, you had the opportunity to work with some of the stakeholders you're talking about in government and even in the private sector. To you, where is your greatest concern for us in managing our environment and even making use of the energy that is available for us? I'm using those words side by side because I know it's a big one. Yes. But where is your greatest concern?
My greatest concern as my experience from the private sector, I'm from the private sector. Okay. And all along, based on my experience and knowledge, all over the world, Nigerian contemporaries like Brazil, Malaysia, Thailand and other places, government has no business been in environmental issues. Governments should remain and always have as regulators and monitors. Commercialization and privatization of waste management activity is always the key. Waste management and environmental issues are very, very, very capital intensive. But it's just like we have refineries before, government into refining, government into power plant. But you know the story. So
tell me the story. Let me assume I don't know the story.
No, the story is government is always should always and remains a regulator. That's why our refineries fail. That's why they continue to fail. That's why when you look at the privatization of NEPA, at least there are certain degree of improvement on the part of government spending in terms of in case of NEPA. So environmental is as big, as capital intensive as oil and gas and the power sector.
Okay. What are we losing by not focusing properly on effective waste management in the environment?
A lot. We are losing a lot. Most importantly, the issue of healthcare. Because when you look at the environment, a lot of issues we have in the healthcare sector and healthcare crisis has to do a lot with environmental improper.
Tell us about it.
Yes, of course, it's all over the place. When you look at even Abuja as capital city, you have thousands of healthcare facilities, from hospitals to laboratories to whatever. But the waste from those hospitals and those labs that are hazardous in nature are still being treated, collected, combined and disposed as same place as general waste.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, because the healthcare waste management should be handled from the hospital point of, even from the patient treatment to internal storage to transportation to the final disposal point. I gave an example to one of the governors when we met. He was telling me that he has done a lot and is still doing a lot in healthcare sector in his state. But I told him, asking Your Excellency, sir, do you know that without aligning your effort in the health sector with the environmental waste management issues, it's like you are creating a much bigger problem. The more you invest in healthcare, the more you create much bigger problem in the healthcare, because you are creating serious environmental issues. I gave him an instance of by spending 10,000 naira investment in healthcare to treat a patient with an infectious disease in a hospital, and not properly managing his waste, not minding to know where that waste will be end up. We are creating like 1,000 more
such problems
of disease in the community.
And I'm sure opening his eyes to such, he saw your reasons, or he saw your position, and I'm sure this is the same way it's cut across different states.
Of course, very well.
So how do we manage health waste? Let's start with that. At least somebody could benefit from this knowledge, no matter how little today.
It's a very, very comprehensive and, as I said, even in the healthcare, general waste management, environmental issues, healthcare hazardous waste is the most complicated in nature. And it also is require a lot of expertise.
And it's not cheap.
It's not cheap. All over the world, as I said, it's always been handed to private sector with technical and financial capacity, knowledge to handle such waste by establishing first and foremost an awareness campaign. You start with awareness campaign, then probably that's public enlightenment, then to training, and capacity building, even on healthcare workers, because as I said, handling, even the nurses and doctors need to be trained how to properly handle it from the first point of contact to the point of disposal. You should need to have a separate waste disposal containers at a hospital.
With COVID-19 on, is it bigger with what you've seen and what you're describing to us now?
WHO has already identified sustainable waste management as key component in fighting COVID-19 because of serious this COVID-19 is highly contagious in nature, and the simplest way of movement, easy movement and contact is through the indiscriminate handling of waste and environmental issues. The more you handle your waste management, the way you handle your environmental issues, by the way, the more you prevent the spread of COVID-19. Yes.
Katuka and JEGA, yes. That's the title. We're going on a break. When we get back from the break, we'll take a look at other aspects of the environment. We'll talk about energy. Renewable energy is another passion for you, because I know if we can't deal with the management of waste generally, then how do we think we can even use some to tap some from the sun into renewable energy?
Yes,
we'll be doing that after this break.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're watching On The Spot. We'll be right back after this break with my guest taking a look at the environment and what crisis portend if we do not manage it very well.
The coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, has been declared by the World Health Organization as a global pandemic. While clinical trials are ongoing for a vaccine and a possible cure, there is no known treatment for the coronavirus. Nigeria has recorded some of these cases, and people are advised to take these preventive measures to keep themselves safe and contain the further spread of the virus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water, or use hand sanitizers all the time. Maintain social distancing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice respiratory hygiene. If you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Do not panic. Stop the spread of unconfirmed news. Follow the official government news outlets and report all cases immediately. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Okay, welcome back. If you just tuned in, the program is On The Spot, and I have my guests, Katuka and JEGA, still on the spot. Let's get a look into the world of renewable energy. We've tried to experiment some energy mix at a point in time in the country. Where exactly are we when we're talking about renewable energy for Nigeria?
Yes, as I said, environment covers virtually all sectors for Nigerian economy. When you look at agriculture, our initiatives, first and foremost, we have a master plan already developed for Abuja, Kaduna, and Kano over the last 10 years. We work seriously on it, based on capital, training, capacity building, research and development, on the conversion of municipal solid waste in Abuja, Kaduna, and Kano. First, to produce organic fertilizer as byproduct of the main product from the waste processing initiatives of Cape Gate and our partners is to produce clean energy through the production of biogas from waste. Because all this food waste you throw, the grasses, animal waste, even toilet waste from sewer has high organic content.
So what were your findings?
The findings are simple, as I said. First, like in the FCT, we are very sure of generating up to minimum of 50 megawatts from FCT waste. Minimum.
What are we generating presently in the FCT?
Nothing. As far as the waste is concerned, we have the license. We have been approved the license by the former administration. We have been approved the license by the current.
So we're not generating anything in that direction?
Yes, the approvals are there, but implementation not been granted yet.
With so much waste floating around?
All the waste floating around, we are not getting the benefit of getting organic fertilizer for our farmers. the electricity for energy mix, as you said, and also energy security. Because when you look at all these issues, you have to look at energy security, more especially when I mentioned just 3 major cities in the Abuja, Kaduna, and Kano. 100% relies on either solar and hydro or thermal power supplies. In the event of any energy crisis on the gas supply or shortage of water in our dams or any eventualities, Abuja will be in total energy crisis. Nigeria will be in complete and total energy crisis.
Because I asked that first question, are we having any energy crisis? You said, well, it's the commitment.
I don't want to put it that way because I know that's a solution.
Good.
When you say you have a complete total crisis, maybe you don't have a solution. We have a window of solutions if authorities and
so why do we get laid back in pushing, like other parts of the world are doing, in having this energy mix so that we can have the energy security, like you're pointing out?
The issue boils down to lack of coordination and lack of commitment. President went to Paris as soon as he assumed duties as president. He went and committed Nigeria to sign a Paris climate agreement on the reduction of carbon emissions by 2030 up to 30%. That same year in September, he went to UN to ratify those Paris agreement, and Nigeria was first countries to ratify the agreement, Paris agreement in the UN. But even the nationally determined contribution, that the NDC, and the industry determined contribution that have been 2 major components of Paris agreement. When you say industries, means NTA.
I know.
All the NDS needed to present their implementation plan. How does NTA intend to implement, to contribute to implementation of the carbon reduction by 2030? How many generators are you using? How many these are you using? How do you intend to reduce from using diesel generators to solar, to biomass or something? It has not been done in Nigeria yet.
By any of the MDA?
The monitoring agency has not even put in place the guidelines to be sent to MDS, all the stakeholders, private sector, cement factories, refineries, everybody. Look, let us have your plan. How do you intend to contribute your quota to the carbon reduction by 2030? Because I've already committed Nigeria in 2 ways. Industry's contribution and the national contribution. Is after the industry contribution put together, then when Nigeria now will now achieve the nationally determined contributions. But even the policies and guidelines have not been developed. This is why pirates into this. From 2015, we are in 2020, exactly.
It's just 10 years to
exactly 5 years gone. Why countries like Chile has achieved 100% of their commitment, Germany and other places, we are still at even the policy development stages. So the president is keen. If you remember, where I'm so interested and believe in president's determination to do the right thing in this sector. From day one, at National Conference Center, when he went to receive his certificate of return as elected president in 2015, climate change and environmental issue was one of his key pronouncements.
He's still on it.
Even at the conference center, just a day after some hours after he has been elected as president, then he went ahead to commit Nigeria and Paris to the UN and everywhere. But believe me, we don't have the coordinated approach.
So you've used that word severally now. The coordination for all the different approaches everyone is trying to bring on board, including your humble self.
Yes.
What would you like to see through the private sector? Also on the public sector's involvement, how do we come together, actually forge a common front based on what Mr. President has committed himself to and is interested in bringing on?
Let me speak for as a private sector. There's nothing basically we can do much about it without government giving us a roadmap, clear roadmap. There are a lot of incentives to be given by government all over the world. All these environmental waste management issues largely depend on government at initial stage, government interventions and grants, they are never profitable on their own at the start, because we stand for the truth and for the government always to do the right thing, all the stakeholders to do the right thing. When you look at the banking sector, CV initiatives from green energy, MPC initiative of renewable energy started by Bottom administration, they are all there. And madam, several billions of naira has gone down the drain without simply having a clear roadmap for investors. I am an investor in environmental management project. I have extensive network of contacts globally. People that are willing, that are ready to come to partner with us. My company has several multinationals agreements, technical financials agreement. So and some of them are tired.
Why are they tired? What body language are you giving?
The tiredness is when somebody say, come to my country, have an approval to start something. And after 10 years, you are still on it, not be implemented. So my advice here is for the leadership has to now, again, there's the coordination, there should be a national coordination office or council that will determine and provide leadership.
I know this aspect of being worried over commitments is so much of an issue for so many of you in the private sector to get some things kicked off immediately. Let's take it in piecemeal. Already at the beginning of this conversation, you talked about even waste management being technical and also technology investments, high costs and all of that. For now, of course, the indices show that we need much money to even handle so many of the, even from the budget matter, we need to cut down some of the things. There is a glut too on the international markets for oil and all of that. But then we still need to keep the country running. If you were to advise, yes, as a private concern, this is what you could give as brief to Mr. President. We need to start in that piecemeal until we get the larger body.
The right time to implement sustainable waste management and energy in this country is now. Because when you look at the employment generation, like we have started in Kaduna already now. In Kaduna, we have almost 2,700 employees now. And in waste management in Kaduna. In our master plan for Abuja, Kaduna, and Kano, estimated employment generation by our company will be 10,000. It will get serious hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of sustainable jobs in the environmental sector. It will save costs on the part of government, because at the moment government is paying contractors, including me, my company, logistic company, to be just cleaning the place, moving the waste, and dumping it somewhere.
And that somewhere too is creating its
much bigger problem than.
Okay, I know you've talked about Kaduna, you've talked about Kano, you've talked about Abuja.
Yes.
What about the southern part of Nigeria? Aren't you interested, or are people not interested in that?
It's strategic. You need to have what do you call it? Close proximity on implementing a master plan. When you look at Abuja, Kaduna, and Kano, they are like contiguous. So that's why we developed a plan on a 400-kilometer stretch from Abaji to Kano.
But you're taking a look at the south as well.
Of course, we are in Calabar.
Why ask the question? Because it won't just be okay. It's just one part of the country that the issue of renewable energy is being looked at, or environment issue. I know.
Yes, we are everywhere. We are just in last December. I have foreign partners. They came. We are in Port Harcourt refinery. We are in Port Harcourt. We are in Lagos. We are all over the place. The aim of integrating air pollution and air management solution into environmental issues, because it's another very, very serious issues. The one is
one last one before you go.
Yes.
Environment issues generally. I'm going to give you an opportunity to advise Nigerians, whether for those creating the waste, or for those who are supposed to be creating the wealth through this waste.
Yes.
But in one sentence, what do we need to do? Because we must go now.
Yes.
What do we need to do to make the environment better and profitable?
Government to provide a roadmap, guidelines, national guidelines and roadmap for everybody to queue in.
That was just very brief, and Katuka JEGA, that's BASHIR NAMADINA. We thank you for coming on the spot.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your expertise, and we also wish you and all other stakeholders in this business of keeping the environment strong and profitable all the very best as we look onto the opportunities that the government will be giving to support the sector.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And that's on the spot for this week. We appreciate your time. Next time, join us again for another interesting edition with another interesting guest. My name is Blessing Abu. Bye.